Hello my friends and Evolutionary Energy Arts family. How are you guys doing today? I hope you're having a wonderful weekend and I hope it's been a blessed time for you guys. We have some interesting things going on. We have this out of Strange Sounds, which takes us into Facebook when we click on it. Water is not supposed to be naturally bubbling. So what is going on here in New Mexico? And when we click on it, we're taken to this page, Jeremy Myers. And so what is going on there?
I am not quite sure what this is, but that is a natural boiling fucking spot in the ground.
Excuse the French.
Holy shit. That's fucking hot.
Excuse the language there, guys. But yeah, this is interesting. And I'm not an expert, so I can't tell you what this is. Is it lava coming up? It doesn't appear to be. It almost looks to be more like tarish. But he says it seems to be like boiling water coming up from the ground. Is it gas escaping? Is this something to do with fracking? I mean, just throwing all these questions out there because, you know, I don't know. You guys might have an idea of what's going on with this. I do know from listening to Rex over at Leak Project when he made his rounds through New Mexico and through southern Colorado and some parts of Arizona, he was saying how he has seen so much fracking going on in that area. And that got me doing research on it, and yeah, they're fracking the crap out of the area, honestly. And he noticed so many dead trees, so many dead plants everywhere, and I'm just wondering if this is related to any of that. What do you guys think? Does anybody have an idea as to what this is? As always, I will have the links for you guys to see. I mean, is this oil? Is it water? What's exactly going on there? It doesn't look good anyway. And so Yellowstone Steamboat Geyser has now erupted 8 times in less than 3 months, and that's baffling scientists working at the site. So Yellowstone Steamboat Geyser, the largest in the world, has now erupted 8 times in less than 3 months in a geological puzzle that has fascinated scientists working at the site. The last eruption on Monday lasted an amazing 30 minutes with strong water gushing. An occasional baseball-sized rock ejected up 200 feet in the air and a loud rumbling sound very similar to a volcanic explosion. So the most recent eruption occurred Monday just after 9 a.m. It was unbelievable. Jamie Farrell, a geologist at the University of Utah who happened to be at the geyser during the eruption, he's seen plenty of other geysers go off, but not Steamboat, which is capable of the largest eruptions of all currently active geysers. The first thing that comes to my mind when I think back on it was just how loud it was, the roar of the eruption, he said, comparing the second part of the eruption to the sound of a jet engine. That came after a dramatic half hour of the geyser gushing water and the occasional baseball-sized rock getting flung 200 feet in the air. And so again, I'll have the links for you guys to check it out. And so what is going on with that? Is that just no big deal? Nothing to worry about? Even though it's quite a bit more than the normal pacing? Is it just something that's coincidental, or is this some sort of sign that there's activity going on at Yellowstone that we should perhaps be aware and concerned about? Because obviously Yellowstone is the biggie. Hawaii's volcano eruption. Drone captures dramatic lava flow from Kilauea to the sea. And so here again, this is out of the USGS. Just, you know, it's just a river of lava. It hasn't slowed down at all. It's not slowing down. It's going along at the same pace, or increasing actually. Lots of lava reaching the sea, and when's this going to end? Who knows, really. Look at that, just river of lava, reworking the whole southeastern part of the Big Island. And will this branch off elsewhere? That's basically another thing to think about, as we have another volcanic eruption, and it's a 5.3 this time. And so this is today. You can see the diamond there. This is regular now. It's really becoming an everyday thing with these eruptions, and currently 329 earthquakes on the Big Island in the past 24 hours. So it just keeps going. It's like the old ad for a Timex watch, right? It just keeps going, and the island is taking a licking, especially in this area, and we'll see where this goes to. But again, no slowdown. Massive insect plague. Millions of caterpillars invade Blue Hill, Maine, and trigger a statewide traffic advisory. Their smell reminds Devin Granger of a bait truck, and when she runs them over with her car, the sound makes her think of popcorn popping. And Granger's talking about the caterpillars. That's right, millions of caterpillars have invaded Blue Hill, Maine for the last few weeks, eating everything on their path, and even triggering a statewide traffic advisory for slippery conditions. Wow, look at that. Look at all those caterpillars. Millions of the fuzzy little beasts have flooded Mines Road between 2nd and 3rd ponds for the last few weeks or so. It's created such a hazard that state officials have placed an electronic sign in the area and posted a statewide traffic advisory warning motorists to go slow in the slippery conditions lest they have an accident. And they're everywhere. So very, very unusual and interesting event there as well, up in Blue Hill, Maine. And this is what's up with that. And this is that fuego. That last eruption of fuego injected large amounts of sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere, and it may induce some short-term global cooling in and of itself. So volcanologist Simon Karn is quoted by the Smithsonian as saying SO2 mass eject was about approximately 2 orders of magnitude greater than the 74 eruption, which had a significant stratospheric impact. So it's well known that sulfur dioxide ejected into the stratosphere has a global cooling effect. And so if the one in 74 had an effect on the atmosphere, on global cooling, this one, because it was pretty much twice as large, should have an even more dramatic effect on global cooling. And then of course we add to that all the other eruptions that are going on. This was a serious eruption here, and so as we've been talking about, you could expect next winter is going to be quite a bit harsher than this winter, and we're not getting a reprieve from that at all. So when we're talking about our safe zones, every area has a challenge, and like many of you guys have said, there really aren't any safe zones. It just depends on, you know, where are you most comfortable and where is your intuition guiding you, because we all have different things to basically face in whatever area you're in. So if you're down here in Central America, you might be okay from the standpoint of the global cooling. Yet, of course, you have the earthquakes and the volcanoes to contend with. And you know, if you're up in the northern United States, you know, if you're in you know, Minnesota, if you're in Wisconsin, even if you're in Ohio and Indiana, or Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, you know, the winters are going to get substantially more brutal, and they're going to be tougher to deal with. You're going to have a shorter growing season. So, you know, it's kind of like pick your poison and deal with it, because truly there are no perfect places, as we're finding out. There are no perfectly safe places. So what do you want to risk, and where is going to give you the most reward in your life? And perhaps it's staying where you are. Storms dumped 7.5 inches of rain in Ocean City. So, all along the east coast, as we have said, going on into the Mississippi and all along the northern tier, we've had tremendous flooding. Of course, we still have the fires going out west, but the flooding has not stopped. And 7.5 inches of rain fell in 5.5 hours over here again. And from Maryland, D.C., New Jersey. Here we have Chicago, heavy rain causing flooding in the northern suburbs. Flash flooding forces evacuations and damages roads. And this is Oil City Road, Jefferson Township. And we're just seeing this. This is a replay. It's just like it was last week, the week before. Flooding concerns continue Sunday, Monday morning with flash flood watch, Cumberland County, South Jersey. It's just not changing. 3 rescued from stranded vehicles in southwest Wisconsin flooding. Here we have blankets of hail hit the Battlefords on Sunday as part of a severe thunderstorm warning, which has continued for today. And so this is up in Canada. And they've been getting a lot of hail. There's actually been some snow in some areas. It's just continuing like it has been. And, we're at June 10th now. And many areas are experiencing summer temps, but there are many areas in the northern areas that are still really kind of feeling like you're still in winter or early spring. So for the first time since '75, the entire Swedish National Guard was just mobilized. And this is on top of those booklets that came out saying, that they should be prepared, citizens should be prepared in case of war or crisis, and you should have at least a week, prepare for at least a week without any sort of help from the government in case of these things. And then, this is kind of disconcerting for a lot of the Swedish citizens. And so this is going back to to Wednesday. And the most unsettling move yet, they mobilized the entire Swedish Home Guard for an unannounced preparedness exercise. All 40 battalions were activated, effective immediately. So, very interesting and curious as to what's going on here. And, it's supposed to be an unannounced preparedness exercise, a drill, but it could be some sort of, could it be something that they know is a high probability coming, whether it be natural disaster related, whether it be war related. Why are they doing this at this time frame? And so it's interesting, very, very interesting. We watch everything carefully, and we don't fear. We're just taking note. China hacked a Navy contractor and secured a trove of highly sensitive data on submarine warfare. And this is showing China's sole operating aircraft carrier. And more hacking. And we've heard an awful lot about hacking, haven't we? With especially in regards to China. So Chinese government hackers have compromised the computers of a Navy contractor, stealing massive amounts of highly sensitive data related to undersea warfare, including secret plans to develop a supersonic anti-ship missile for use on U.S. submarines by 2020, according to American officials. The breach occurred in January and February, the officials said, speaking on the condition of anonymity to discuss an ongoing investigation. The hackers targeted a contractor who works for the Naval Undersea Warfare Center, a military organization headquartered in Newport, Rhode Island, that conducts research and development for submarines and underwater weaponry. The officials did not identify the contractor. Taken were 614 gigabytes of material relating to closely held project known as Sea Dragon, as well as signals and sensor data, submarine radio room information relating to cryptographic systems, and the Navy Submarine Development Unit's electronic warfare library. So the Washington Post agreed to withhold certain details about the compromised missile project at the request of the Navy, which argued that their release could harm national security. So another data breach, very, very interesting, and just another thing to make note of. Now, if you want to find a nice, easy read that is very, very user-friendly and yet explains a lot of what's going on in quantum physics as it pertains to the world we know in layman's terms, understanding the life force, understanding what is called the field, for lack of better term. This is a great book. Lynn McTaggart does a really nice job. This was, I think I read this in one sitting, literally one sitting. It was pretty much that good. I gobbled it up. It wasn't hard to follow. It was very, very easy to follow, as opposed to some of the other ones I've read that were much more drier and took time to digest. This is just such a good read, and it's a great book. So it's called The Field, The Quest for the Secret Force of the Universe. And it's that which binds us. And you know, we have been given a blessing in the Star Wars movies because it's indoctrinated our kids and so many of us into this concept of this force or field that permeates everything. And it goes back to time immemorial, and there's so many traditions that speak of this, especially the Taoist traditions. When we think of the Tao, it's that which is in everything, and yet it's more than that as well. It's the unity that binds us all together into a oneness beyond the duality, and it's such a good read. Greg Braden has another book out also very similarly titled, and it was another one that was like a one sitting read, just so good. And now if you don't want to read, you could go on YouTube and type in Lynn McTaggart, The Field, and there are videos that you can watch and just listen to. And so it does such a good job tying together the physics with the philosophies, the ancient traditions, and explaining why does prayer work? Why does magic work? Why does meditation work? You know, how are things all connected? In fact, everything is mind stuff, as Einstein and the rest of his Theosophical Society group that he had back in the 30s, you know, that they just used to meet and they used to just discuss these wondrous things. You know, how does the universe truly work? And so many of the brilliant minds that gave us quantum physics were in that group. And this is a very easy read for you guys to get a hold of and understand what's going on and why all this makes sense. And here is the PDF on it. So it's definitely something I would strongly recommend. And so this is from Arthur C. Clarke, and he says, physics may be about to face a revolution similar to that just occurred a century ago. And this quote also, if an angel were to tell us about his philosophy, many of his statements might well sound like 2 times 2 equals 13. Meaning it could be very, very difficult, obviously, to discover. So this is just some idea of what's in the book, the resonating universe, and it gets into all sorts of things, including the language of the cell, as above, so below, understanding how things work, resonating with the world. Everything is basically just vibrations, frequencies, everything's energy, everything's consciousness. And if we look at part 2, the creative observer, sharing dreams, the extended eye, the endless here and now. As one of our subscribers was pointing out, we should stop thinking in terms of past lives because they all happen simultaneously. And that's something that's mind-blowing, and we can't really understand that. But yet it's something that is basically what we're discovering to be a universal law. And we are in this 3D reality in which because our minds are so limited in this reality, our brains are the limiting factor. We have this apparent illusion of time, but in reality, everything that is right here and right now. And so when you look at it in that way, this is all eternal. It's endless. And so there's really nothing to fear. And so fear should never really come into our equation. And when we realize too that we have a lot more control over things than we think, and that we've been conditioned to believe, it really becomes a case of, how do you want to play in this game? And we could view it in that way, as that this is really a game that we're here and in. We're inhabiting these avatars, these bodies. And it's all about how do we control our reality? What's our reality going to look like? What are we going to choose to experience in this world? And so part 3, the healing field. Telegram from Gaia and the 0 point age. We've been in this dark age mindset. We were given these self-limiting beliefs that we are not in control of anything, that we have no say in anything. Everything's deterministic. You're living in a big machine, and basically you have no control over it. Everything is in someone else's hands. But in reality, we are the observer. We are actually affecting the universe we see just by observing it. And when you factor in what your expectations are, then you are creating your reality. So what reality do you want to create? Why not create a reality of abundance, of peace, of love, of harmony, of brotherhood and sisterhood? We have to just simply change the energetic patterns that are all around us. And we have to do that one person at a time. It is going to be a process, and it's not going to happen necessarily overnight in mass. Yet our lives individually can change instantaneously overnight, literally. There is so much that I've experienced, and so many amazing people that I have met that have experienced things like timeline jumping. And if you're not familiar with that, it's basically when you decide to change your reality to the point where it appears that you've totally jumped into a new timeline. And it may be that that is actually a possibility. And isn't that an amazing thought in and of itself? And I'll share with you, with myself, there was a time when I remember going to bed clearly by myself. And it was because I had a big breakup, a big fight and a big breakup. And I'm definitely not one that fights. If anything, I will always kind of try to make the other happy, even if it's the case where I'm very unhappy myself, which isn't a good thing to do either. So we need to honor ourselves. But in this case, I had left, went somewhere else, stayed out of friends, laid my head to bed with the thoughts that it's over, the relationship is done, and I can't believe it. And then, I had a lot of crazy dreams that night. And then when I woke up and I was back in my bed, looked over, and there she was. And it was like, well, wait a minute. Was that all a dream? What happened here? I thought we had broke up. I thought I stormed out of the house and went to my friend's house and was staying in his Oh, he had like a kind of like a garage and a shop that he worked at, and he had a bed in the back there he would sleep in sometimes. So that's where I was. I thought I was, but when I woke up, I was back in my bed, and basically in that reality, I had held my tongue, and I just let it go, the thing that irritated me, to the point where I left. And so I was revitalized with a more positive outlook and was ready to try to do whatever I could to salvage the relationship, because I felt like I was like a miracle, and I was back in this timeline where I didn't say anything, but just simply let the negative energy go instead of reacting to it. So I really felt like I jumped timelines, because it seemed like that whole argument didn't happen, or that I didn't react to the point where I left. Instead, I held my tongue and went to bed in my bed with my partner. And it was the weirdest thing, because I swear I had left, but then when I woke up, I hadn't. So I was really kind of confused, but it felt like my desire made it so that I timeline jumped. And have any of you guys ever shared that? Have you ever had that type of experience where you go to bed thinking that something major has happened, and then you wake up and it never happened? And it could be a bunch of different things, or maybe it's vice versa. You go to bed thinking something didn't happen, and then something major did happen, and you felt like you weren't aware of it. I would be really curious to see, have you guys ever experienced things like that? I've had a couple of friends of mine share with me that they have experienced similar things. Have you ever experienced timeline jumping? Have you ever experienced that? I can't wait to hear you guys' comments and see if you've experienced anything like that, because that really, it freaked me out, and it felt so crazy, but it really opened my mind to the possibilities that, we truly are in such control over ourselves and our reality, and we don't realize it. I've changed things around with the use of mantras, and it's been amazing how quickly things can manifest now. Part of the thing too with our reality now is the fact that we are getting, as we've said before, we have so much energy coming in, we're in the process of ascension, our DNA is coming back online, and we are way more intuitive now than we were 2, 3, 4 years ago. Everybody's intuition is increasing. Everyone's psychic abilities are increasing. These things are real. These things are not illusions. They're not they're not woo-woo. They're real. It's real. Everyone has these abilities, and these are natural abilities. They've just been suppressed, and in some societies, where they use fluoridated water and other means, they're being kept down on purpose. So recognize that everybody is getting more intuitive. We all are. We're all becoming more powerful, creative manifestors every single day. And as we join together and start creating our vision of a perfect future, or what the future should look like, we're going to see very quick results. And I have no doubts that we could just squash a hurricane in its tracks. We could mitigate a coming natural disaster. We could also minimize the probability of World War III. And we need to be very, very strong and focused on these things. And just know, you have to know it. And as was said, as Christ said, again, it just is all about faith. And just knowing you can move that mountain. That's what it's really about. How many times did he say, your faith has healed you? Not, I healed you, worship me. No, your faith healed you. And just even what people feeling, causing karmic repercussions on themselves because of guilt over something they did or didn't do. When he said, your sins are forgiven, He didn't say, I forgive you for your sins. He just said your sins are forgiven. And so, taking away the feeling that you are a sinner, that you are worthless, that you've done wrong, that is bringing all these karmic effects on you, causing these negative things to happen to you in your life. When you feel that that's been taken away, then you're ready to receive positive things. So we must recondition ourselves, recondition our brains, and recognize that we could control these things. And together we could control the whole bigger picture if we could get ourselves online and understand this. So release your guilt, release all those negative feelings of inadequacy, release all those feelings of karmic indebtedness. You know, you must forgive yourself first and forgive others as well, and just let anything go that is negative or lower energy. Just let it go. Focus on the positive, focus on the best outcomes possible. And again, this book is a great book to just let you learn about it. There are so many other books I would recommend as well. Paul Davies, very good author too. He wrote a book called The Mind of God. A little bit more scientific, a little bit heavier, but still wonderful. There's so many good books and good videos you could watch on these things. Because, you know, so many people have been brainwashed to think that this is all just New Age woo-woo. No, these are the mysteries that have been hidden for tens of thousands of years, and they're lost science. They're lost science, and they're hidden science on purpose. And yet they're the science that the Cabal and the Illuminatis know and use every day, because they know how it works. And they're going to use it to their advantage. And so do some negative ETs. So, you know, they're making use of the laws of the universe that they don't want you to understand. So we need to understand, and we need to make use of it in a positive light, to band together, to control our own destiny and our own reality. Don't give up your power. Don't give up your power. Why do people consistently give up their power and authority? Why do we always hand it away to others to make decisions for us? You know, and trust these politicians to go in office and do the right thing, but they don't, time and time again. There needs to be a new system, but it all starts with us taking responsibility for ourselves and realizing that we are powerful co-creators here. And we're going to co-create something beautiful and positive, and we're not going to let them stick the negative thoughts in our minds, the self-limiting thoughts. We're going to manifest the reality that we want to manifest. And that's a positive reality of unity, brotherhood, sisterhood, love, peace, and really enjoying the beauty of this planet. And as I've said before, some of the earth changes, they probably need to come for the earth itself, which is a living being. And she is cleansing herself. She's getting rid of her negative energies. She's purging and purifying herself. However, we could definitely affect how people are affected. And as our intuitions increase, we'll know things like when we should perhaps move or shift to a new area, or how to, you know, alleviate some of the issues. Maybe when you know, we're having our house worked on, maybe it needs to be raised 6 feet so that when the floods come, you're going to be safe. You know, there's all different things that we have to take into consideration. And we have to be very, very aware of not falling into the powers that be's negative intentions for humanity. And we must focus on our ability to manifest the positive, my friends. So I do encourage you guys to check out this book. As always, please leave comments. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Share your experiences. I love and you know, reading them, and I know everybody out there loves sharing and growing together. I love you guys tremendously. Thank you so much for being my family. I never feel alone with you guys out there. It's a wonderful thing. It's a beautiful thing to know that we're a part of this bigger family, and we spread all across the globe, and we're in all different countries, and we're growing together in a positive light, and we're going to change things in a positive manner. So thank you guys so much. Please thumbs up to support the channel. Subscribe and click the bell if you haven't subscribed. Come join our family. We embrace you and welcome you. And we're a diverse family with people of different beliefs, but we respect each other's beliefs and we get along. And that's the case. That's what we need to be the rule of law, is that we get along and we don't judge each other. We accept each other for who each is. And we go through different stages in life, and learning unfolds in different manners. And so we will learn and grow together, and we will grow stronger, my friends. Love, light, peace, abundance, wellness to you guys. Always stay safe. Much love, my friends. God bless and namaste.